Hi, this is Jennifer from Positively Learning, and today we are looking at solutions for providing quick breaks for students who need to. We're going to be taking a look at the quiet bins. I also refer to these as take a break boxes or busy bags, whatever works for your students. So, we are going to be taking a walk through one of these bins. I've already opened it up, and we're just going to look at the pages together. I'm going to be sharing some ideas on how I used them and nothing fancy, but I'll be taking some notes as we go. All right, real quick, I want to start with the bundle. These come in a bundle of 10 different themes. We're going to take a look at one of them today, but if you are looking at providing a series of these, of individual bags and boxes for your students, they do come in 10 different themes. Now, I want to mention these are for individual student use. So students are not sharing these items. These are small, low prep, easy to implement. If you are looking at these for your classroom and say you have 30 students, I hope you don't, but if you do have 30 students and you're looking, okay, this is a bundle of 10, 10 times 3 is 30. I need 3 of these. Please do not do that. One of these packets can be turned into like at least 3 different centers, maybe even more. So that's what I want to share as we go. So if you have 30 students, good luck. And I just want to mention this bundle of 10 would be plenty. That'd be all you need. All right, so there are 10 different themes. They are all storybook themes that your students are going to be familiar with, like Wizard of Oz and Cinderella and Peter Pan. They are all very similar to each other, just the theme changes, and they are similar, and that is on purpose, so that students can just enjoy the fine motor task, get the break that they need, and you can mix and match as well. All right, so today we are going to be looking at Alice in Wonderland. Oh, real quick, before I switch out of this bundle, I wanted to link this for you because see that green preview button? You can go ahead and click on this link and open up the preview. And right here, this arrow in the top right-hand corner, that's a download. So if you are interested in using quiet bins with your students, go ahead and click on this preview and download this for reference. So you can do that today. And it's just going to go over many of the things we're going to talk about today. It has a table of contents of the different tasks. And then what I like is it has a lot of photos of showing you what these tasks can look like when you prepare them. So I think it just gives you more ideas on everything that's included. Okay, so be sure to grab that preview by clicking on the green button. That's there for you today. All right, we are going to open up Alice in Wonderland. I've got my notes page ready. And here's our packet. All right, starting off, does give you that background information. So I used my original intention was to provide a break for students. So for example, if you are working with paraprofessionals and they are providing breaks throughout the day for students, it's often really easy to do that when you're working in the resource room. You can just grab your work and find a quiet place. Or maybe you can go for a quick walk down the hallway, or you can get a drink of water. But other times, it's just not as easy to get that break in. So these boxes are intended to provide a solution for that. A paraprofessional may take one of these boxes when we're going to an enrichment class, like a specials class. And maybe it's an environment or classroom that's just not as easy to get that break. You can just grab this box, find that quiet spot, get your quick break, reset, and you're ready to go back. Um, Imagine a school assembly. That can be sensory overload, right? These boxes would be perfect to step out of the assembly, get that quick break, find motor skills, they're engaging, they're quiet, and then you're reset, ready to have a great rest of your day. Some teachers are not in situations like that, so they've mentioned that they use them for morning tubs. Say that students are entering at staggered arrival times, and we don't want our students sharing items, and so these could be individual boxes they could just take to their table and work on as a kind of a slow, quiet start to the morning. Same thing with early finishers, even indoor recess. So, looking at these bins, we know our students love our manipulatives. That is so much fun for them to use, but they often don't get a chance, right? To have all that hands-on play. So these could be great opportunities for indoor recess, just even some fine motor playing. All right. I wanted to mention that as we go through these tasks, there are more than 75 of these cards. And I would highly recommend not using all 75. I would take 75 of these cards, just gonna put it on our number one, 75 plus task cards. I would print either just what you need, which is going to be less, or printing all 75 and dividing into, I would say about 3 centers. I think you could do more, but about 3 centers. So if you're looking at like 30, 35 cards each, that would work. Now, I did organize these by the cards printed on white paper. That means these have colored ink, and the ones printed on colored paper. And I just use assorted colors that match the theme, and those are in black ink. You say that your students love, love, love the finger paths, but you do not want to use stringing beads. No problem. Skip the stringing beads. Print two of sets of the finger paths to add more in there. That's the idea. And you can print, you can go, if you have the bundle, you can go get the stringing beads of all the sets and make one huge task bin. That's up to you. They are easy to mix and match. All right, after the table of contents, you do see a label. Now, I use these labels. I prefer to use the pencil boxes. I did try the plastic photo storage boxes. We are big fans of those. They're colorful. My students can open and close them independently. They're awesome. These cards do fit in those photo storage boxes as well as manipulatives, but you just can't fit quite as much, and the box feels very stuffed, which makes it a little harder to close. So I found that these um, pencil, I think they're like pencil cases or pencil boxes. I found that these were just perfect. And these are the kind I get like back to school. I don't know if they're 79 cents or 97 cents, but you can buy quite a few of them. They are pretty durable. Another idea is to use pencil pouches, those zipper pouches that have the window in the front so you can put the label in, students can see the different manipulatives and they can unzip and get the materials out. So, and of course, you can use like a zip plastic bag as well. So, storage ideas, I like the pencil cases. I also really like the pencil pouches. Both of those I think are sized really well. And then, of course, you can use a zip top plastic bag. Anything that has a lid or that closes. That's, I think, what's really important. Okay, moving ahead, now we're getting into the task cards. It starts with the vocabulary and notice the wide left margin. That's intentional so that you can hole punch and use with a storage bin or a book ring. So another idea, we know that there's 75 plus task cards. I would take like, I think around 35 task cards, hole punch and use book ring. So back to our photos there. You can see I have them mixed up with the different colored paper and the ones I printed on white paper and all these different tasks for Alice in Wonderland. There's about 30 to 35 on one book ring. I really like using the book ring because even if you are using a smaller number of cards, that's still a lot of different cards to handle. It's a lot going on. I just find that this keeps it a little bit more organized, keeps all the cards together. Plus, my students loved flipping through them. Okay, so we have the vocabulary cards, and for Alice in Wonderland, there are 2 pages. And at the bottom, there's another label. This one is for if you're using the book ring solution. After the vocabulary, every set of these bins has stack cards. And on the left, I put like recommendations of what to use. I used these with Unifix or Snap cubes, where my students were making vertical towers out of these, and they loved it. They were reading the card. It goes all the way up to 14, and these are in every set. I liked using the cubes. Of course, you could use like any kind of blocks or anything that stacks if you want. You could use Legos, different types of cubes. The next set of cards are all patterns using common fine motor manipulatives. So if you have the traditional math buttons, I want to mention all of the task cards for these manipulatives are actual size. So if your students are grabbing the circle and they can lay it right on top, it's going to fit. If you're using the book ring, my students are making these patterns like next to it, like on the table or on the floor. And we have the buttons. Pattern blocks are actual size. Stringing beads. Now, not everybody has stringing beads, or maybe if you do have them, you don't want to lose them. I find that the using the shoelace or the ribbon is very, very slippery. My students love it, but sometimes they get a little frustrated stringing them. That's up to you. Another solution is using pipe cleaners. I just find that since they're thicker, my students, these are not sliding off everywhere. So that's an idea. And then the last set is those adorable bear counters. Now, if you wanted, you could, let me show you. Oh, goodness. Let me show you here. Okay, you could just make a bear center, or you could just make a set of the pattern block centers by printing the page a few times or going into the other bins and grabbing all of their bears and making task boxes or busy bags that are just focused on one skill. So you can make task boxes focused on one manipulative. Now, I mentioned skill, and what I mean by that is that these are not academic bins. However, there are a few things that are like math related or vocabulary words to read. You could create just a math bin and or just one manipulative bin. You could create those. I did not. I used assorted. It was just easy, really easy to do. But if you wanted to create just the bare bin or just the button bin or just the pattern blocks, that would work too. Oops. Okay, back to our packet. After the bears, we get into the quote cards using quotes from the theme. There's a black and white option for the label if you're using colored paper. And then we get into some maker space. So the maker space is just some kind of themed graphic, and students are using the manipulatives that are in the task box to build them. Now, I do have, of course, the different tasks. So whatever task cards you're using, there are some manipulatives like the pattern blocks, things that are already designated. However, you can add some extra manipulatives. And I do this really following the theme. So for example, the Snow White, I put in some apple erasers for the poison apple. For the Frog Prince, I have in some frog mini erasers just to match the theme. For Peter Pan, I put in those jewels. I don't know if you've seen those in the craft section, but those jewels are there for Peter Pan's like the treasure. And then another idea is I use those Legos. They're not actually Legos, they're those building blocks from Target that came in all those fun colors. I use those and they were very inexpensive. So that would be for, yeah, but you can use them for anything, but they'd also be really great for the makerspace tasks. Okay. So that's the idea for the build it cards. The next is roll 3 dice and place in order. Let me show you what that can look like. Oops. Oh, here they are. See that picture right there? I only put the 3 dice in because they just reuse those dice for each card that goes in there. But my students love that. And again, if you don't want to use dice with your students, like that gets a little crazy, you can just take these cards out, only print what you want to use. What one solution is the foam dice. I don't know if you've seen those, where they come in like a tub of the yellow with the black dots and they're foam. Those, you don't cry as hard if they get lost. Plus, they are just so quiet. They're real quiet for students using them. And the next is the 10 frames. These are sized perfectly for mini erasers or for small pom-poms. Pom-poms, let me put that in. That is always a good idea. We love pom-poms because they're fun, but also they're really quiet and they're inexpensive. Okay. The next is some simple addition tasks using links. Again, we have that left-hand margin for the hole punch. You can add in links into your manipulative task box. And then the last is what we call finger paths. This is such a calming activity. You can align this with a deep breath. In fact, if you wanted, you could gather all the finger paths. They're all different. And so there's 5. Sorry, let me click over here. There's 5 on this page. And so say that you go into the bundle, there's 5 times 10, that's 50. What if you wanted to use them for calming breaths? In the bundle, there's 50 of these tasks. I don't think your students need 50 of them, but you can mix and match and create several of those. What if you just had a set of the finger paths put into your calming corner? That would be awesome. All right, so that brings us to the end of the packet. I really did want to go through this with you because when you look at it, you're like, that's 17 pages. It's really only 14 pages of tasks. And that doesn't seem like a whole lot. However, you can see how much you're getting. You can use them like in this photo where all the tasks are mashed together. You see the stacking and linking and dice and mini eraser, 10 frames and the bears and so on. You can have them all together like that, or you can use them where you're just focused on one skill at a time. That is up to you. Possibilities are really endless. So I want to know what questions you have for me. Just going over our notes really quickly. I think all of these tasks are very straightforward, but it's just going to be fun to see how your students do with them. I think it also provides a great solution for individual student um, exploration. Like if you're having a sensory bin and all the students are sharing it, you don't want that. This is a really easy opportunity. I would just picture your assembly line. Your task boxes are open. You're adding cards, and then you're going through every, box down a row and sprinkling in manipulatives. Closing lid, adding label. Done. That is it. And done for the whole school year and the year after that, and so on. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. Hope it sparked a lot of ideas. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.